Person that I follow his lead, and he thinks for peaking for an Olympic Games, it's a little bit better to have those trials as close as possible so that you can really see who's coming together at the right time. And if you do it a little bit early, then, for example, they may drop down, they may lose some motivation, or various things like that can happen to them. So for him, he feels that they kind of build that intensity, they're in such good shape for that trial process and that test process, and then you can just kind of maintain and taper down towards the Games itself.
Grant Golding is another one of the men Edouard and Jeff are considering for the team. The 27-year-old from Maple Ridge, BC already has one Olympics under his belt, and Beijing could be the storybook ending to a storied career. He hopes to retire from competitive gymnastics this fall and join the world-renowned Cirque du Soleil.
You still want to go out there and have a good competition, and you want to hit some good routines, especially on the routines or the events that you could be contributing to as a team member at the Olympics. And, you know, if you have a bad routine, maybe when Edward's sitting down and looking over things, you know, he could look at nationals and go, well, you kind of missed here. Whereas if you have a strong showing here, you can kind of look back and go, well, you did really well here as well.
There's no guaranteed spots on the team, and you can't have too many mistakes. And things do happen, even though you've been training really well, you know, nerves get to you or things go wrong, like it's unpredictable. So you gotta keep working and make sure that you're on the ball at all times.
Yeah, because I thought I was gonna go out of bounds.
Yeah, after the competition now.
Coming out here and showing that you're consistent and that you can hit your routines at this stage in preparation for the Games is good. But we also have a lot of training camps over the next couple weeks, couple months before the Games, where it's really going to be important to buckle down, because the national coach will be with you at training every day. So he'll see what you do every day. So yeah, those are the days you have to be really consistent, really mentally focused to get your routines done.
The undisputed king of Canadian gymnastics is also here, the reigning Olympic gold medalist on floor, Kyle Schufelt. One would think that his spot on this team would be a lock, but Kyle suffered a horrific accident last summer. Just a couple of days prior to the World Championships in Germany, he broke both of his legs while training. Metal plates and screws were needed to put him back together. He hasn't been able to compete since then. So these Canadian championships would have been a great test for him prior to Beijing. The day the Canadian championships are set to begin, Kyle makes a sobering announcement.
I will not be participating in these championships. I'm withdrawing from the competition, but I want everyone to see it as a really positive thing.
The 26-year-old feels he just hasn't had enough time in the gym to be ready for this competition. He believes he will be with his team in Beijing, but for Kyle, it's beginning to feel a little like deja vu.
Before the 2004 Games, I did have an injury as well. It was an ankle injury, a bone bruise, and I didn't compete at the Nationals during that year. But my focus was on Athens, and this time my focus is on Beijing. And that's what I'm looking towards. That's where I want to peak. That's where I want to be at my best. So right now, I feel like I can make this dream become a reality. I'm a perfectionist. I have a really high standard. I don't want to go out there and do a watered-down routine and have people question. You know, in the gym, I'm training well, but I need a little bit more time. I lost a lot of time. I lost a lot of training time. So now I'm trying to play catch-up, but I do feel that sense of urgency, and every day in the gym I'm trying to make, like, an awesome day.
But you're confident that you can reach that level of perfection again?
Yeah, I'm confident, and I think I have to be. I think I have to believe deep inside of my heart that I can be great, because I always have wanted to be great. If I didn't believe that I could, then my mission would be, it would be with less passion, it would be with less intention, and I don't think you can fool yourself. You need to really, really believe that you can.
Your teammates are under a microscope here at these Canadian championships. What's that like for you? Because I'm sure you'd want every one of them to be able to be in Beijing.
I love my teammates. They're like my brothers, and it's gonna hurt all of us when someone doesn't get to go. But the fact of the matter is, it's a sport, and sometimes sport can be disappointing. Everybody's working hard. Everyone's putting their heart into this, and 6 compete there in Beijing. We're going to be carrying the other ones with us. And not just the 8 of us, the other 6 members of the national team that aren't going to be part of the training camps. I think that's what makes a team, is when you support each other through the good times and through the bad times. And this team it's a true team.
This selection process is a new thing for us, I think, for all of Canada, so I've never been through anything like it.
This week's Canadian Gymnastics Championships in Calgary will be crucial in determining which 6 men will make the trip to Beijing this summer. It's up to head coach Edouard Yaroff and program director Jeff Thompson to decide who's in and who is out. But figuring out who'll represent Canada in women's artistic gymnastics is an entirely different process. The men managed to qualify a team to the Olympic Games, so that means they can send 6 athletes. But the women, they weren't so lucky. They just missed qualifying a team, so they can only send 2. And unlike the men, who will have their athletes selected by the head coach and program director, the women instead have decided to implement a very complex scoring system.
Our choice was based on establishing the reputation of the athletes internationally with high scores, which is what we have done. They've competed internationally, they've won medals at the World Cup competition. It's stressful for the athletes because they have to reach very high score to make points. But then, because of the medals at the World Cup competition, they will be known when they will arrive at the games, and the chances are that their scores will be higher than if they were unknown.
Followed by Peng, followed by Sarah, and followed by Yili.
The complex point system began in November and ends on the final day of the national championships. Heading into the week, it's essentially a 3-woman race. Leading is 18-year-old Elise Hoffner-Hibbs. The Torontonian is the oldest and most decorated of the 3 contenders. She's a world championship medalist on beam, and next year is off to